Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother and Dad, Love, Ruth, John, Mark, Patricia, and Peter, 1978, Part 165. These are letters based on the original publication, Small Shaw Family Memories Collection, or SFMC number 80, published on June 6, 2002. 21508 Avalon Drive, Rocky River, Ohio, 44116. Monday, March 20th, 1978. Dearest Mother and Dad, it was so good to talk to you and hope you have a good bridge game. I hope Dad doesn't do any more snow shoveling. It's good for him to get out, though, and get some fresh air. It'll be so good when he gets into his garden. I know how thrilled I was to see our daffodils. It's raining here now, which will melt the last of the snow. Let the rain melt yours. A neighbor across the street had a stroke last year, and I remember when he started walking around a little older than us. Another friend who was such a help when Pam died 7 years ago. Her husband had a heart attack, and now he walks around inside Westgate, the shopping center, inside the mall, because it was too cold to walk outside. I've been in since Rick Donaldson's Eagle Scout Awards ceremony and just went out today for the first time in a week. Patricia came home yesterday and went to the concert with John and the Donaldsons. Our neighbor was a piano soloist with the orchestra. She was a child prodigy. I'm so glad Daphne got the check and cards. Patty drove us to the Faulkners for tea and then me to the grocery store and Peter to the doctor. Peter got kicked in the rib with a ski where he fell while skiing. Then someone hit him in the ribs while playing basketball. The doctor had told him to stay in bed with a heating pad, but he was lifeguard and then played 2 basketball games. They won the championship and also high point difference, so he got a trophy and another plaque. He's getting quite a collection. Yes, we'd like him to be a doctor too, but it's so hard to get into medical school, and it's such a hard job in medical school and being a doctor in this day and age. Our own doctor had a heart attack about age 45. They gave 100 students a special math exam, and Peter was 4th highest. Pam's friends, Phyllis Oblander and Craig Porter, are in medical school. Craig has heart problems and was in the hospital at Christmas. I thought Brian was studying to be an engineer. Going to South America might be better than Saskatchewan. Chris will have to look up Pam Williams when she's in Israel. Patty has a lovely tan and had such a good time. I have to pack tomorrow. It's our 3rd trip to the Bahamas this year. Everyone asks if we're going to move there. John said sometime we're not going to come back here. We've taken 10 weeks vacation this year. Good thing we both like to travel while we still can. I hope to see you both. Take care. God bless. Love, Ruth. 21508 Avalon Drive, Rocky River, Ohio, 44116. March 21st, 1978. Dearest Mother and Dad, 'tis spring again. The birds are on the wing again, their old melody. How I wish I could share with you the view of Lake Erie with the ice melting so that the lake looks spring clean, and the flocks of ducks are skimming over and then settling down to merrily swim along. It's so exciting to see life out there after being frozen in tranquility for about 3 months. I'm so happy that I'm finally feeling better. I wish you could share that too. I'd better to get ready for this trip tomorrow. Lots of groceries to pack. I'm so glad your poinsettia is in bloom so well. I meant to ask you about an Easter lily. My potatoes are coming up. I put little pieces in my plant. Maybe Dad could get started on an indoor garden to transplant outdoors later. I'm so glad Daphne got the little check. I'm planning to make your bran muffins for the Bahamas. At Christmas we had them, and your cake and your pudding and sauce. They were great. Would you like me to come for a week after we get back in April? It sounded from Chris's letter that you wanted me to come. She sounds busy and happy again. Maybe she could visit Pam Williams in Israel. Who are you and Dad showing off to in shoveling snow? We try not to shovel it. Easter, 7 years. Love, Ruth. Miami, Florida International Airport, 3:35 a.m., March 23, 1978. Dearest Mother and Dad, I'm in the huge Miami International Airport library and it's 3:30 a.m. John, Keith, and Peter are stretched out sleeping on some padded benches, trying to sleep. There's one couple both on one bench. We've been here since 2 o'clock in the morning and leave for Nassau at 8:15 a.m. We came night coach so we could have more time in Nassau. We have a charter out from Nassau at 1:30 p.m. and we'll get gas and groceries in the morning. John would also like to get a breadfruit tree. Did I tell you that Steve Cox planted 20 3-foot coconut palms for us along our beach? They should produce coconuts in 7 to 8 years. I hope I see that. Your last letter hadn't arrived, but Patty and the Euchers saw us off, and Patty will be there until Friday. She'll fly at 6 o'clock a.m. to Boston to see Mark for Easter. Then she'll go to Brown and collect her typewriter and clothes, and go to Dartmouth for spring term. Joe Novak will stay in the beach house. Someone broke in again and burned the top of the end table. Joe's mother and sister were on the plane going to Orlando to see her folks and drive them back up. They've been there since December. Most of our friends' parents seem to spend December through March in Florida. Most Ohioans do that can. We hope you're both okay, and I'll come whenever you think best. Are there any airplanes that fly to North Dakota? Because I can get a direct flights to North Dakota. I should have had Patricia come to visit you. She'd be of more help than me. She made bran muffins for our trip. John had his trial in the Court of Appeals and is very tired. 2 trials this week. It was a gorgeous day today. My snowflowers and crocuses are up and blooming. I'll try to keep a diary letter out on Cistern Key and mail it back when we get back. God bless. Love, Ruth. Buccaneer Way, Cistern Key, Exumas, Bahamas. Tuesday, March 28, 1978. 10th anniversary of the day we found the first old 200-year foundation for our house. Dearest Mother and Dad, I promised to write you a diary letter while we're out here in our Buccaneer Way on Cistern Key in the Land and Sea Park of the Exuma Islands in the Bahamas. We came out last Maundy, Thursday, and here it is Tuesday after Easter Sunday. I'm wondering how you both are. Hope that the better weather will renew your spirits and body. It has been a long, rough winter for everyone, and especially hard on you both. We hope that you are surviving. If you would like me to come when we get home in April, I will. I should have had Patty come. She's a much better cook. She made your recipe of bran muffins for us to bring. Good. Keith Euchre's mother made a tin of chocolate chip cookies, and John's mother made chocolate-covered Easter eggs. On the way down in Nassau at Christmas, we'd met a Canadian boy with a big bunch of bananas that he'd bought from a banana boat. So this time, Peter had the cab driver take us to the wharf, and he bought a big bunch of bananas. We have them hanging in the rafters right above me, over the end of my bed and over the palm tree. Peter just picked us each one for breakfast while John fried the fish they caught yesterday and is now making pancakes. Great! The last I wrote, we were in the airport at Nassau, and the people at the island flying service, the charter airline, told us that they couldn't possibly fit all our stuff onto the 5-passenger airplane that John had chartered. The girl saw the Coke, bananas, groceries, and said, "Then you even went out and bought more." John tried to charter a larger airplane, but they were all booked, so he told me, "You go out and load that airplane." When I looked at it and all our stuff, I told the pilot even I couldn't see it, and I've done a lot of packing. Supervised loading other airplanes. The pilot said, "I've been a pilot for 30 years, and I don't want to have an accident now." However, I suggested fitting the coolers in one compartment, duffel bags in another, groceries in one seat, and suggested leaving the tent behind. It would have fit between us, but I didn't want to make the pilot nervous. So we all got in okay. They brought the tent the next day, and Steve Cox went for it. At Norman's Key, the boat we'd chartered was out diving, but came in about 4:30 and brought us over. Wiley, the caretaker's assistant, came out in the small boat to ferry us and our luggage in. There were several conch boats in the harbor, one right off our beach. When we went to get our stuff that we'd left in the cave, most of it was missing. Since it was getting dark, I cooked some cheeseburgers on a little frying pan that Keith had brought to eat from. Little did we realize then that was to be my main cooking utensil for the whole trip. That and a little coffee pot that John had put out the back door. Before dawn, the conch boats had left, and we feel they're the guilty party. When we thoroughly searched the cave, we thought it was such a good storage place. All our utensils were gone: frying pan, cooking pots and pans, silverware, and pickaxe. Remember my old black suitcase? We used to bring it down with groceries in it and finally left it with pans. Well, they cleared it out. Every day, Peter and Keith go to the cistern for water and to the caretakers for ice for the coolers. Some days, John cooks pancakes. We usually have tang, cereal, bacon and eggs, or pancakes. Our milk from Nassau stayed fresh for 6 days, then we used powdered milk. Lunches are usually sandwiches, Swiss cheese, bologna or Velveeta, tuna and sometimes soup, bananas, cookies, and oranges. They went fishing, so we've had fish for dinner twice. Keith's mother sent a canned ham for Easter. We also have stuffing, and I'll make a cheesecake with graham cracker crust or a chocolate pie with graham cracker crust. Easter Sunday we had our service, and our sermon was peace of mind. We went to the ocean beach, and I was walking along thinking of Pamela and Patty. Last time we walked the beach, Patty asked if I could find anything I wanted. What would it be? We were looking for shells, and she'd just found her favorite shell. I was trying to decide what I'd most like to find when I found one of those huge glass ball floats wrapped in rope, probably from a Portuguese fishing vessel. I was so excited I shrieked. Poor Peter thought I'd found a head. I keep thinking I'm going to find a drowned body someday. Thursday, March 30th. As you can easily see, it started to rain while I was writing this, and the roof leaked where I was sitting. Yesterday was the 10th anniversary of finding this old 200-year foundation that we made into a gazebo. The 28th of March was the day I found the first old house, and when we came back the next day, Peter discovered this one. Then 5 years ago was when we began sweeping out the floor to begin it. Now I am trying to have the boys clear a spot nearby where we can build my dream octagon-shaped house down here. Today is another beautiful day, and the boys are now floating out on the air mattresses, and the caretaker's son, young Stephen Cox Jr., is in my canoe. They've just returned from snorkeling at the reef. John has been screening the roof under the palm fronds and is now over negotiating with the conch fishermen to bring out cement and lumber for Steve Cox Sr. to build us a gazebo on the beach, where we have the screen tent now. He just built us some stone steps up to the house for $125 plus cement, and is going to build us a stone patio off the sliding screen doors, $125 plus cement. The gazebo will be about 12 feet by 14 feet and have a stone and cement floor, and we will screen it, and maybe Mark can build another sliding screen door like this one. My octagon house will be about 40 feet across with 20 feet sides, stone pillars, and a regular roof. I plan to use gas lamps so we don't need a generator, and either a gas refrigerator or a solar one if they ever perfect that. Quite a dream array. I love this gazebo and wish you could see it and the view. The boys built me 2 tables from lumber. Miami Airport, Tuesday, April 4th, 1978. Well, here we are back in the U.S., and the last few days have flown by. Keith Euchre says it's all been like a dream. Peter wants to come back in September and stay for a year and delay beginning college a year. He says he has lots of books he'd like to read. Keith said he'd go and hide in a cave today so he'd be left behind. We left a plan on the beach to build a beach gazebo, and John ordered the cement and lumber for it while we were in Nassau. He'd previously arranged with a boat to take the supplies out in a couple of weeks. Steve Cox will cement the foundation and we may go back at Christmas to build and thatch the roof and screen it. Some very nice people were in the Grant's house and had us over for cocktails. While I was out snorkeling yesterday, I thought how beautiful it was and how I'd like Dad to see the gorgeous reefs. Then I thought that at least Bud should see them. Whenever I've mentioned them coming down, he said he wouldn't enjoy that quiet a place. So beautiful, I couldn't imagine a heaven being more so. We had a fine time, gorgeous sunrises, such clear, beautiful water and air. We'll phone you when we get home tonight to find out about Dad, so you'll hear before you get this letter. John agrees that I should come home now. It seems out of the question that you and Dad come down in May, I guess, and we won't be able to come until the end of July. That's a long time, so I'll come now. I have to be back to have Sue Donaldson's wedding shower the end of April. God bless. Love, Ruth. 21508 Avalon Drive, Rocky River, Ohio, 44116, May 11th, 1978. Dearest Mother and Dad, Happy 18th birthday, Peter. When I brought Peter home from the hospital, 'twas the happiest day of my life, a fulfillment, our family. Today is a gorgeous day and our garden is at its prettiest. I wish you could see it. I was glad to hear from you and Happy Mother's Day. I bought a Whitman sampler for you last week, but don't know when I'll get the parcel mailed. I'm so glad the tree is okay. John asked, is it truly a Bruce spruce? Now I'm wondering. The first one we picked out, he said, was, but when we changed to the second tree, we didn't ask, and he didn't volunteer. So, is it a real true blue spruce? If not, we can get one when we come in the summer and replace it. We lost our big 40-foot tree. They tried to put it back up while I was gone, but it had been broken too much in that bad winter storm. John says he'll buy me another. I have been exhausted. Last week we phoned John's mother to come for a Christmas turkey dinner, since we were in the Bahamas at Christmas. No answer there, so we called Helen. She and Helen were in Chicago visiting their brother Tom, so we phoned there. John's mother was very bad, throat and chest congestion, and couldn't walk. Tom phoned back and said she had scared the hell out of him, and if he put them on the airplane, would we meet them and have them here for the weekend and take them home. So John and Peter met them. John's mother was in a wheelchair and I had dinner ready. John and I had to go to the Bar Association dinner where John received an award for special service. They stayed overnight and I had a turkey dinner before John took them home, and we watched Bahama movies. John's mother was bad. She could hardly walk and didn't seem too sharp. I think she's been alone too much this winter, too. Last night, John spoke on scholarship to the freshman honors students and parents at a lovely dinner we attended. Peter and we will go to one in a couple of weeks. We're coming to the end of all our years in Rocky River schools. Patty was so thrilled at playing under Isaac Stern and sharing the stand with a violist from the Boston Symphony. Happy Mother's Day. Love, John, Ruth, John, and Peter. Things I Would Like to Come True by Peter J. Ray, March 1978. To learn and research the Zook family tree and understand Thomas Zook, who fought in the Civil War. 2. To visit Hokkaido, Japan, and see some hairy Ainu. 3. To read a page in a few seconds. 4. To visit India and learn and practice yoga meditation. 5. To spend a year in the Bahamas. 6. Go to Outward Bound. 7. To get married and have kids who appreciate their parents. 8. Stay close to my brother Mark and sister Patty all my life. 9. My children have grandparents. 21508 Avalon Drive, Rocky River, Ohio, 44116, Tuesday, March 14th, 1978. Dearest Mother and Dad, I was and am so glad to receive your letter today, written Sunday the 5th. I'm so very sorry that Dad is worse and that you think maybe I should come. I do hope that the doctor is right and he'll be better when he can get out. Tell Dad to hang in there, spring is near. The day that you wrote was the day we took Helen Lacey and John's mother Gertrude to dinner. I'd thought of calling you Sunday night, but by that time I couldn't talk myself. I'd had a cold all week and a strange sore throat and weakness. We went to a party Saturday night, a shower for Sue Donaldson. It is a lovely home, but high ceilings and drafty, an original barn, and I developed severe laryngitis, and in the middle of the night I thought I'd die. I was in charge of refreshments for Rick Donaldson's Eagle Scout Awards ceremony on Sunday. Peter was crucifer at church and hated to miss seeing him, but stayed in bed and dragged myself to prepare the reception. John did a super job as master of ceremonies. Then I went to bed for 2 days and still can't talk very well. John says the only thing that keeps me going is my messes. Then I thought I'd just die. I kept thinking, I can't leave John with all my messes. He says not to worry, that he'd just throw everything out. I can imagine Dad is a big job for you. I've been so worried that you would get sick too. I guess my suggestion for you and Dad visiting here in May is an improbability. In 2 months? Gorgeous day. I thought you'd enjoy Peter's fantasy list that they had to write for creative writing. I thought you'd enjoy particularly 7, 8, and 9. 7, to get married and have kids who appreciate their parents. 8, stay close to my brother Mark and sister Patty all my life. 9, my children have grandparents. I think Peter's just lovely. It's really too bad he's seen so little of you and Dad, but so wonderful that you saw him in Colorado last summer. I think he's only seen Dad twice. The trip home we made for 2 days in 1969 when he was 9, and the few days or week Dad came in 1970 when he was 10, when you were in England and he came for Elsie's 80th birthday. Bud got him to come. I too hope Peter's children's have grandparents. That's us. It's been 4 months since Dad's stroke, the worst 4 months of Saskatchewan winter history. So Dad hasn't missed much not going out. The next 4 months will get better and better. I'll come in July anyway. We finally heard from Mark. He'd phoned us last in January about Pam Williams, and we hadn't heard since. We can't phone him because he has no telephone. Once we sent him a telegram to call home when Dad had his stroke. He got 4 A's and 1 B in Hebrew and will soon get his master's degree. Now talking about getting another master's in divinity, and also thinking of getting a job doing counseling or drug counseling. He's also had the flu for 10 days. Says 25% of the Boston University kids have been sick. Peter also has a cough, and tonight he's running in a track meet. He played basketball Saturday, and they looked like a winning team. They've won every game but the first one that he missed. He also ran track after the game Saturday. Won't Brian be home next month? Tell Dad to hang on. Brian will want to see him and have lots to tell of his adventures. Tell Daphne to hang in there too. I looked for a coat, but not much around $25. Patty home from Eleuthera and also from Vanderbilt. She says our reefs are much prettier. She's coming home and then flying to Providence, Rhode Island to get her stuff, rent a car, visit Mark for Easter, and go back to Dartmouth for spring term. We plan to leave next week, March 22nd, after John's hearing in the Court of Appeals, and fly to Nassau and Cistern Key until April 4th, our third trip to the Bahamas this year. We plan to take 10 weeks vacation this year. Hope I'm well enough to get ready. Take care. God bless. Love, Ruth. Now there's an enclosure from Ruth that she sent to her mother, a newspaper clipping from the Cleveland Plain Dealer newspaper, Sunday, June 11th, and the headline is "Away to Bed of Flowers," and it's Ruth with in the yard, and the caption is "A rose garden, perennial and shrub borders, and terrace steps to a beach house complement the colonial home of Mrs. John S. Ray, Rocky River, which is on the garden stroll itinerary of the Great Lakes Shakespeare Festival." Now we have 2 comments based on the original publication, and the first is from my father, John S. Ray. Dear Editor, 4 pages of great pictures in SFMC number 80. Peter, you were quite a dandy for your high school prom. I remember how unhappy we were on Cistern Key when we found the conch fishermen had stolen all of our cooking utensils. Bummer. Peter, I do not remember your being in track. Do you remember much about it? It's interesting that your mother thinks I'm more owl-like with a beard. I don't recall being compared to an owl before. I do recall bringing Mark's stuff back from California. What a project. Peter received an A on a calculus test. Wow. I took calculus at Oberlin and had a lot of trouble with it. Peter with a plus and a star on the graduation list. Do you remember what that meant? What a beautiful picture of your mother in the June 11th, 1978 Plain Dealer. Thank you for another great issue. Love, Dad. John S. Ray, Rocky River, Ohio. Now we have another letter to the editor from my sister, Patricia A. Ray. Dear Peter, I've been meaning to write to you forever, but I always mean to read the SFMC first, so now I'm finally doing it. I am reading SFMC number 80, and it is a riot. I didn't know that Grandma Smallshaw and Mom wanted you to be a doctor, although I remember you were pre-med briefly. It is amazing that those coconut trees were planted in 1978, still waiting for coconuts to show up, and some things never change, such as stuffing the seaplane as full as possible, or having the staff horrified and dubious that it will all fit. It's also amazing that we could catch fish and eat it back then. Now Dad has his binoculars on to report any boaters who steal lobster. I also read SFMC number 81. I don't understand why Mom told me not to get emotionally involved and to focus on my career. I guess I did that. All the best, Peter. Love to Alice and Timmy. Love, Patty. Patricia A. Ray, M.D., Brighton, Massachusetts. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.